The first time I met a human, I was convinced they were going to die. My name is Vex, and I serve as a xenobiologist aboard the Galactic Council's research vessel, the Harmony's Edge. For 3 cycles, I had studied every known sentient species in our corner of the galaxy. I had dissected the biology of the Krynth warriors, analyzed the breathing patterns of the aquatic Falmer, and even survived a rather unfortunate incident with a Skrell whose poisonous skin nearly ended my career. But humans? Humans were supposed to be a cautionary tale. Every species entering the Council receives a classification. The Krynth are labeled warriors. The Falmer are diplomats. The Uran are traitors. Simple enough, right? Well, when humanity's application came through, the entire classification committee went silent for exactly 47 minutes. Then someone, a junior analyst named Poke who probably thought he was being clever, stamped their file with a single word that would haunt us all. Deathworld. Earth's file read like a horror story written by a sadistic computer. Gravity that would crush most species. An atmosphere so corrosive with oxygen that it literally rusts metal. Weather patterns that swung from frozen wastelands to boiling deserts within the span of a single season. Predators with teeth the size of my arm. Microscopic organisms that could kill you in days. Plants that were poisonous. And don't even get me started on the geological instability. The ground moved on Earth. It just moved. For no reason. When Captain Marcus Reeves walked onto our ship for the first cultural exchange program, I had already prepared 3 different emergency medical protocols and a rather nice eulogy. He was tall, as most humans are, with skin the color of dark soil and eyes that seemed to catalog everything in the room within seconds. He wore their standard military uniform, which looked absurdly thin compared to our reinforced environmental suits. "Permission to come aboard?" he asked, his voice carrying that strange roughness that human vocal cords produce. Our captain, a Vilnari named Torque, made the gesture of welcome. "Granted. Though I must ask, Captain Reeves, are you certain you don't require supplemental oxygen? Our ship maintains standard council atmosphere, which is considerably less dense than what you're accustomed to." Reeves smiled. Humans do that a lot. Showing their teeth in what they insist is a friendly gesture. "I'm good. Spent 6 months on the lunar base with similar conditions. The body adapts. The body adapts." He said it so casually, like his cells just decided to function differently, and that was that. Over the following days, I watched him like a scientific specimen, which, technically, he was. Humans are omnivores, meaning they can extract nutrients from both plant and animal matter. This alone makes them unusual. Most species evolve to optimize one food source. But humans? They just ate everything. I watched Reeves consume a Krynth protein bar that had enough capsaicin to put most beings in medical stasis. He just chewed thoughtfully and said it needed more hot sauce. But the real revelation came during a routine drill. Standard procedure dictates that all crew members participate in emergency scenarios. This particular drill simulated a hull breach in Section 7. We had exactly 90 seconds to seal ourselves in safety compartments while the automated systems patched the damage. Everyone knew their positions. Everyone had practiced, except the drill master, bless his transparent hide, decided to spice things up. He triggered 3 breaches simultaneously and disabled the gravity in 2 sections. Panic. Immediate. Absolute panic. I was tumbling through 0 gravity, my tentacles flailing uselessly as I tried to reach the handhold that kept drifting further away. Around me, crew members were screaming, spinning, colliding with each other in a ballet of disaster. Our Uran engineer was vomiting in freefall, which is exactly as disgusting as it sounds. Then Reeves appeared. He pushed off a wall with his legs, something so simple, yet none of us had thought to do it, and caught the Uran mid-spiral. With his free hand, he grabbed a passing Falmer by their harness. Then he kicked off another surface. Changing direction like gravity was merely a suggestion, towing both aliens toward the nearest safety compartment. His movements were precise, calculated, like he'd done this 1,000 times before, because he had. After the drill, after everyone had stopped hyperventilating and the Uran had finished apologizing for the mess, I found Reeves in the observation deck. He was staring out at the stars, hands clasped behind his back. "That was impressive," I managed, still shaken. "The way you moved in 0 gravity. Your training must be exceptional." He laughed. Actually laughed. "Training? That was just Tuesday afternoon gym class back home. I felt my respiratory organs constrict. Gym class? You mean educational recreation? Yeah, we had this thing called the climbing wall. 30 meters straight up, no safety gear except a harness. Kids competed to see who could reach the top fastest. He glanced at me, those predator eyes gleaming with something I couldn't quite identify. The weakest part of that drill? It was slow. On Earth, you'd have maybe 30 seconds before the cold or the lack of air got you. We learned to move fast early. That's when it hit me. Earth wasn't classified as a death world because it was dangerous to humans. It was classified as a death world because it was dangerous to everyone except humans. Captain Reeves, I said slowly, what exactly do humans consider difficult? His smile widened. Want me to show you? I should have said no. I really should have said no. 3 days later, I found myself in the ship's gymnasium, which Reeves had converted into what he cheerfully called a basic obstacle course. The other crew members formed a nervous semicircle around the entrance, whispering among themselves. Torque had authorized this demonstration with the kind of morbid curiosity that usually precedes terrible decisions. All right, everyone, Reeves began, clapping his hands together in that sharp, startling way humans do. This is what we call a standard physical fitness assessment. Back on Earth, we run these every 6 months for military personnel. Age range? 18 to 65. 65 rotations? I had to recalculate that twice. Humans remained in active combat roles for 65 rotations. The course itself looked innocuous enough. A series of platforms at varying heights. Some ropes dangling from the ceiling. A few weighted containers. Nothing that screamed danger. But then again, I was learning that humans had a very different threshold for what constituted danger. Who wants to go first? Reeves asked, scanning our group with those unsettling forward-facing eyes. Silence. The kind of silence that follows a funeral dirge. Finally, Krell stepped forward. He was a Krenth warrior, all 4 of his arms rippling with muscle, his exoskeleton gleaming under the lights. If anyone could match a human physically, it would be a Krenth. They were bred for combat, genetically optimized for strength and endurance. I will demonstrate that Krenth prowess is equal to any challenge, Krell announced, his mandibles clicking with confidence. Reeves grinned. Love the enthusiasm. Okay, it's simple. Climb that rope to the top. Traverse across those platforms. Lift that container, which weighs about 60 kilograms, and carry it to the far wall. Pull yourself up onto that final ledge. Done. Timer starts now. Krell launched himself at the rope with impressive speed. His 4 arms worked in concert, pulling his considerable mass upward. He reached the top in 20 seconds. Not bad. Then came the platforms. Here's where things got interesting. The platforms were spaced just far enough apart that Krell had to jump between them. And Krenth, for all their strength, are heavy. Very heavy. His first jump was successful, but the landing sent a visible shockwave through his legs. The second platform wobbled under his weight. By the third jump, he was breathing hard. His respiratory vents wheezing. He managed the container lift, barely, his arms shaking with effort. But when he reached the final ledge, which required him to pull his entire body weight up using just his arms while his feet dangled, he failed. 3 attempts, each one slower than the last. Good effort, Reeves said, checking his handheld timer. 4 minutes, 18 seconds. Though you didn't complete the final obstacle. Krell's mandibles drooped. This is your standard assessment. For humans, yeah? Reeves shrugged. Average completion time is around 3 minutes. Elite soldiers do it in under 2. I watched the color drain from Krell's exoskeleton. A Krenth warrior, genetically designed for physical superiority, had just been told he couldn't meet basic human fitness standards. Perhaps, I interjected, trying to salvage some dignity for poor Krell. Humans are simply better suited to this specific type of activity? Surely there are areas where other species excel? Reeves nodded thoughtfully. Sure, the Falmer can hold their breath way longer than us. The Urin have better fine motor control for precision work. The Vilnari can process mathematical calculations faster. He paused, his expression shifting into something more serious. But here's the thing. You asked me what humans consider difficult. The answer is, we don't really have a concept of impossible. He walked to the center of the gym, gesturing broadly. Earth tried to kill us for 3 million years. Ice ages that froze entire continents. droughts that lasted generations, predators that hunted us, diseases that wiped out half our population. And you know what we did? We didn't just survive. We thrived. We turned wolves into pets. We domesticated fire. We looked at birds and said, "Hey, we want to do that too," and built machines that let us fly. Torque's translator was working overtime, trying to capture the passion in Reeves' voice. But every species adapts to their environment. That's basic evolution. Yeah, but most species adapt to their environment. Reeves picked up one of the weighted containers, tossing it from hand to hand like it weighed nothing. Humans? We adapted our environment to us. Too cold? Build a shelter. Too hot? Build a different shelter. Not enough food? Learn to grow it. Predator hunting you? Hunt it back. Eat it. Wear its skin as a trophy. The casual way he described wearing another creature's skin made my sensory organs retract involuntarily. Earth didn't make us tough because it was cruel, he continued. It made us tough because that was the only way to survive. And after 3 million years of that, it's just normal to us. We don't think of ourselves as special. Every human child learns to handle pain, exhaustion, fear. We call it growing up. He set the container down and looked at each of us in turn. You call Earth a death world like it's a warning label, like we barely escaped with our lives. But that's not how we see it. His smile returned, but there was something almost sad in it. We call it home. And compared to home, the rest of the galaxy is easy mode. That evening, I compiled my observations into a report for the Galactic Council. I tried to be objective, scientific, detached. But my tentacles kept trembling as I typed. Subject: Human physical capabilities assessment conclusion. Previous classification as Deathworld species is inadequate. Humans do not simply survive their environment. They are forged by it. Recommend immediate reclassification and enhanced cultural exchange programs. We have much to learn. I paused before adding the final line. Warning: do not underestimate human potential. What they consider basic training would break most council species. I sent the report and sat back, exhausted. Through the viewport, I could see Earth in the distance, that blue and green marble spinning peacefully in the void. Somewhere on that planet, children were climbing walls and running obstacle courses and learning to push their bodies beyond what seemed possible, and they thought it was normal. By the void. What had we gotten ourselves into? The incident that changed everything happened 6 weeks into the cultural exchange. We were conducting a routine survey of the Theta Mendax system, mapping mineral deposits on the 4th planet, when our sensors detected something that made every alarm on the bridge scream in digital agony. A Skrull raiding ship had dropped out of hyperspace directly behind us, weapons hot and shields raised. The Skrull are pirates, scavengers, the kind of species that preys on scientific vessels like ours. They have numbers, outdated weapons, and absolutely no regard for council law. Our ship had defensive shields and exactly 2 plasma cannons designed for asteroid clearing, not combat. Evasive maneuvers. Torque shouted, his vocal sacs inflating with panic. Send a distress signal. How long until council reinforcements arrive? 18 hours minimum. Our communications officer reported, her voice cracking. We're too far from the nearest patrol route. 18 hours. We'd be captured, stripped for parts, or worse in 18 minutes. The Skrull ship fired a warning shot across our bow, their message crackling through our systems in broken standard. Surrender vessel. Surrender cargo. Live maybe. Resist, die certain. I looked around the bridge. Torque was frozen, his decision-making paralyzed by fear. Krell had his weapons, but what good were 4 arms against a ship full of raiders? The rest of the crew were scientists, engineers, diplomats. We weren't fighters, except one. Reeves stood at the tactical station, his fingers flying across the controls with practiced ease. His face had changed. Gone was the friendly smile, the casual demeanor. What remained was something cold, calculating, dangerous. Captain Torque, he said quietly, I need authorization to access weapons systems and helm control. Torque's eye stalks swiveled toward him. What? We have no weapons that can match their firepower. We have no chance. With respect, sir, you have no chance using council tactics. Reeves never looked up from the console. Let me use human tactics. Human tactics? I couldn't help but ask. What does that even mean? He finally met my gaze, and I saw something in those predator eyes that made my respiratory organs freeze. It means we don't fight fair. Torque hesitated for exactly 3 seconds. Then he made the gesture of command authorization. Do it. Whatever it takes. Reeves' hands moved across the controls like he'd been born to them. Helm, I need you to execute exactly the maneuvers I call out. No hesitation, no questions. Understood. Our urine pilot nodded, all 6 of his eyes wide with terror. Good. Kill our main engines. Make it look like we're surrendering. The bridge went dark except for emergency lighting. Through the viewport, I watched the Skrull ship approach, growing larger by the second. They were hailing us, demanding we open our airlocks, prepare to be boarded. Reeves let them get close. Very close. Close enough that I could see the scoring on their hull, the makeshift weapons welded to their exterior. Now, Reeves whispered, maneuvering thrusters only. Rotate 90 degrees port, full burn. The ship lurched. The sudden movement threw half the bridge crew from their stations, but Reeves had braced himself, his human equilibrium compensating instantly. Our asteroid-clearing cannons, previously pointed harmlessly at space, now aimed directly at the Skrull ship's unshielded underbelly. Fire both cannons. Maximum yield. The plasma shots weren't designed for ship-to-ship combat. They were designed to vaporize rock. But metal, as it turns out, vaporizes pretty well too. The first shot punched through their hull like it was paper. The second shot hit something critical, probably their reactor, and the entire aft section erupted in a bloom of white-hot energy. But Reeves wasn't done. Helm, full reverse thrust. Get us distance now. We pulled back just as the Skrull ship's forward section, damaged but still operational, began firing wildly in every direction. Their shots went wide, their targeting systems clearly damaged. They're going to run, Krell observed, his mandibles clicking with surprise. They have superior numbers, superior weapons, but they're retreating. Of course they are, Reeves said, already bringing our shields to maximum. We hurt them. Predators don't attack prey that fights back effectively. It's not worth the energy expenditure. Basic survival instinct. Sure enough, the Skrull ship limped away into hyperspace, trailing atmosphere and debris. The bridge was silent except for the sound of various species breathing in various ways. Then Torque began to laugh. It started as a small chirp and built into a full-body oscillation of relief. You magnificent, terrifying creature, he managed between laughs. You just defeated a Skrull raider with asteroid mining equipment. Reeves powered down the weapons systems, his posture relaxing slightly. Back home, we have a saying. It's not about the size of the dog in the fight. It's about the size of the fight in the dog. He glanced around at all of us. You all have better reflexes, stronger exoskeletons, more efficient metabolisms. But you know what humans have? We have spite, stubbornness, the absolute refusal to go down easy. I found my voice, though it came out as barely a whisper. Where did you learn combat tactics like that? Video games, mostly, he said with that infuriating casual tone. Also history classes. Humans have been fighting each other for thousands of years. We got pretty good at it. Though I should mention, that was just basic defensive maneuvering. Nothing fancy. Nothing fancy. He'd just orchestrated a victory against a superior force using mining equipment and called it nothing fancy. That night, I added an addendum to my report. My tentacles were steadier this time. That addendum to human assessment. The Council has misunderstood the fundamental nature of humanity. We called Earth a death world and pitted them for surviving it. But Earth didn't produce survivors. It produced fighters. It produced problem solvers who see obstacles as challenges, not barriers. Every other species in the Council evolved to fit their environment. Humans evolved to conquer theirs. They don't accept limitations. They don't understand the concept of impossible. Show them a wall, they'll climb it. Show them an ocean, they'll cross it. Show them the stars, and they'll build ships to reach them. Earth isn't a death world. Earth is a training ground. 3 million years of constant, brutal, unforgiving training that produced a species capable of thriving anywhere, under any conditions. That recommendation. Do not fear humans. Partner with them. Learn from them. Because the species that treats a hostile planet as their practice ground is exactly the ally we need in an unpredictable galaxy. That I transmitted the report and walked to the observation deck, where Reeves stood, once again staring at the stars. Thank you, I said simply. You saved us. He shrugged. Just doing my job. Besides, you guys are growing on me. Especially you, Vex. You ask good questions. I have one more question, I said. If Earth is your training ground, what exactly are you training for? He was quiet for a long moment, his eyes reflecting starlight. That's the thing. We don't know yet. Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. But when the time comes, when the galaxy needs someone who doesn't give up, who doesn't back down, who learned to survive in hell and came out smiling. He turned to me, and his smile was genuine. Humanity will be ready. And standing there, looking at this creature from a planet that tried to kill his species for millions of years, I believed him. The galaxy had no idea what was coming. But I did. And it was going to be spectacular. So what did you think? Did this story surprise you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this sci-fi story, please hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. And don't forget to subscribe for more mind-blowing science fiction stories every week. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.